we woke up that next morning, and after those 9 grueling hours, not knowing what we were going to be faced with, we did what you do. We started rescue and recovery.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
You've been a soccer teammate. You've been a PT teammate. You've been a business owner teammate. Mm-hmm. We know you're a free dive teammate. But maybe the most impressive team activity I saw you take part in was after the hurricane.
Yes.
And you talk about Fort Myers Beach, whack, disappears almost. Mm-hmm. There you are living on Fort Myers Beach. And I remember seeing the things on TV, the way that you rallied troops, so forth. Tell our viewers a little bit about what that team hurricane relief or whatever was all about, because I know you were a big part of it.
Yes, thank you. Something I never want to experience again, but I'm so thankful that I went through it. And I really, in looking back, I believe that every team building experience I've been through prepared me for it. My husband and I stayed on the beach for Hurricane Ian. Many people would think that's crazy, and now being a Floridian, I'll never do it again. But I will say, we did not know what was coming towards us. At midnight the night before is when it became apparent the hurricane was making a turn and not heading for Tampa, but heading directly for Fort Myers Beach. My husband had just finished building our home in 2020, so it was built to new codes, and it was built to do its job in a Category 5 hurricane.
And it was up. I remember being there.
Yes, you've been, yeah.
So it was up higher, right?
Yeah, our first level is, the first ground level is just garage and pool and, entryway, and then our first living level is 16 feet above sea level. So it was built to the new codes. We had a family, friends of ours that are closer than you could ever imagine, that they were staying with us. They lived in a ground level home, and they planned to stay with us. We were having dinner off the island in Bonita the night before. It was late. We did all of our hurricane prep, and we were sitting in a little pizza place watching the news, and we watched that storm turn. At this point, it was a little too late to leave, and we had a family with us, right? So we went back to the house and we hunkered down and we prepared the best we could of what was to come. That storm was an animal, and it was terrifying. We stayed in our home. There was a 15 to 18 foot surge across all of Fort Myers Beach, and it's hard to understand unless you're in it. I have visitors today that say, well, was the water there too? The only way I can describe it is we were in the second level of our home, and it was difficult to see out the windows because the wind was blowing so hard. There were houses, there were boats, there were cars coming at us, and I couldn't see the gutters on my neighbors' homes because the water line was above it. And knowing that there were people in a lot of those homes and feeling helpless was awful. And there was nothing you could do. And that storm stopped on us for 9 hours. So 9 hours, yeah, 9 hours. We have a satellite device, but the storm I couldn't reach my family. My family knows that we have a satellite communicator. And when we're out fishing, I use that to let them know that we're okay or we're coming in. And I couldn't get a signal for some reason. And I couldn't communicate with them. So knowing their worry was extra difficult. But we woke up that next morning, and after those 9 grueling hours, not knowing what we were going to be faced with, we did what you do. We started rescue and recovery. As soon as the sun came up, we started searching in our neighbors' houses. We were able to rescue a sweet 78-year-old lady that was stuck in her rafters with her 2 dogs. You couldn't get a phone signal out for anything, so by foot and trying to find help was the only way. National Guard didn't make it on the island until over 24 hours later because the bridges had to be deemed safe.
Yeah, they got whacked.
Yeah. So you kind of go into survival mode. We unfortunately found some things that were very difficult to see, but we helped rescue a lot of people. I relocated 2 shoulders that first morning and 1 kneecap. And, we immediately had a purpose. You actually called me on day 3. I don't know how I got your signal because I wasn't getting many signals at all, and offered, thank you, your home to us. We weren't ready to leave. We didn't have any power or water or resources, but we were there with a purpose, helping save people and get people to safety. So it wasn't until 7 days later that we were forced off the island. But in those 7 days, there was nonstop rebuild, and I've been in many situations in life where you fail and you have to pick yourself up and keep on going. And that's the easy part. When you look at your entire community that's absolutely devastated, it was complete devastation in their lives. And that was the hard part. That was the hard part.
It was so impressive, though, to see the way the community just said, okay, but we're Fort Myers strong, or whatever.
Fort Myers
it was.
Beach strong. It's like no other. The
Right.
resilience is unbelievable.
It was just amazing
Right.
to watch. And how did that team get organized? I mean, there's devastation, and how the heck did they get organized to create what they did?
Fort Myers Beach is a special place. We're led by a town council and an LPA, members that they just have resilience and love and passion for that island, like Wellsburg, West Virginia, right? Like Youngstown, Ohio. They're proud of it. They're proud to be part of it. And your neighbor is your family. And it happened fast. It happened fast. The leaders stepped up, and there was no time to look back. And I think our mayor then, I think our mayor now, Dan Allers is now the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, and I saw him within an hour of sunrise, and I don't know how he got there, but he did, and he hasn't stopped since. And we've had a community. I'm blessed to be a part of a community like that. There was no time to look back.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.